to force de-escalation. US Vice President J.D. Vance says India-Pakistan conflict not a problem. Big signal to India, no stopping war on terror. Pakistan has nowhere to turn now. China cautions Gulf countries with India. J.D. Vance says India-Pakistan conflict not our problem. Signal coming in from the US cannot stop India. All right, so that's the latest that is coming in. You know, there are multiple ways of reading this. We also have Shivani. We're going to try and cut across to our Ministry of External Affairs correspondent, Geeta Mohan, editor, External Affairs, who's just going to be joining us in a short while. I'm going to take you through, because this is very important for us, because there are multiple ways to read this. And what US till now, if you remember, when the conflict started, when India responded to attacking Pakistan's terror launch pads, very clearly at that point of time, you had the United States of America, and to quote President Trump, had said that it's a shame. So now that's Americanism saying what a shame that this has happened. But having said that, India had been briefing the United States of America every day. Our NSA, Ajit Doval, had been briefing America. On the other front, now you've had word coming in, and let me take you through that, because it's important to also read what is the larger connotation and messaging of what the United States of America has just said. US has actually come out and said that US is unable to force de-escalation. The Vice President of the United States of America, who was actually here when Pahalgam terror attack had happened and had expressed solidarity with India, has come out and said, India-Pakistan conflict, not our problem. It's a big signal there. Clearly, the United States of America has made it very clear that they are not going to intervene. So there are two ways of reading this, that Pakistan has nowhere to turn now. The United States of America is not intervening. But viewers, we must read it the other way as well, you know, because if now the United States of America has clearly put their hands up, washed their hands off, suggesting that it's not our problem, we are not going to do anything with it. That also means somewhere down the line, Shivani, and we're going to try and get in Geeta Mohan, let's try and get her on the phone line, that Shivani, very clear that United States of America is going to be hands-off, not our problem. Pakistan might have nowhere to turn to. That also gives a free hand to India. But on the other hand, the other way to read this, Shivani, is that the diplomatic pressure that possibly India was hoping that the United States of America will mount on Pakistan to de-escalate, especially because the terror attack emanated from Pakistan's soil, is not going to happen. Two ways to read it, Shivani. Number one, Pakistan will have no one to turn to. America saying, hands off, it's your problem, deal with it, practically. That is what America's done right now. On the other hand, Shivani, the other messaging in this very strong, where India, if we were hoping that the United States of America is going to bear on Pakistan to de-escalate, put in that diplomatic pressure, that's also not going to happen, Shivani. Two ways to read the messaging coming in from the United States of America. Let's try and get Geeta Mohan very quickly.
Preeti, we must corroborate from what has been happening, the statements and the conversations that have been there with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President.
Shivani, just stay with me. I'm sorry. I know I'm cutting you short. Apologies there. The reason I'm doing so is we have Geeta Mohan, who follows, our editor, External Affairs. Geeta, that's huge messaging coming in from the United States of America. United States of America has clearly put its hands up, saying we are not going to do anything, unable to force the de-escalation. India-Pakistan conflict, as per the US Vice President, is not the problem of America. Big messaging there and dual messaging there, Geeta. At one end, we can clearly read it as Pakistan will have no one to turn to, but on the other end, India will also have to read it from the fact that if we were hoping that the United States of America would come in and put a lot of pressure on Pakistan to de-escalate, that's also not going to happen.
Well, that's right. Messaging officially from the United States of America, where statements were put out, Preeti, we were discussing that yesterday, and that those statements very clearly said that the two sides need to de-escalate. But look at the message coming in from none other than Vice President Vance, saying that the two countries need to decide what they want to do. That this is not within the realm and domain of America. Never have we heard U.S. leadership talk about India-Pakistan, the manner in which Vance has spoken, very clearly understanding the importance over here of India, Preeti, more than Pakistan. He was in India when the Pahalgam terror attack took place. He met with the Indian leadership. He was in meetings with the Indian leadership, and immediately after the attack took place. So he was in India. He experienced the importance of what India has felt and what India will be doing in terms of response. So quite clear message coming in from somebody who was actually on...
But Geeta, disappointing as well for India, because one would have thought that the United States of America, especially because what you pointed out, and I did say so earlier, that you had the Vice President in India when Pahalgam terror attack took place, expressing solidarity with India. But it would be disappointing because I would think somewhere down the line, diplomatically, India would have hoped that the United States of America would have put enough global pressure on Pakistan to de-escalate.
Well, Preeti, see, this is Vice President J.D. Vance. He's known to speak his mind and speak in a way that might not always be aligned with the official position or what the U.S. administration is doing. Secretary Marco Rubio is a man who's been connected and engaged with India and Pakistan and the leadership of India and Pakistan. The messaging over there very clear. U.S. is concerned, wants de-escalation, but the statements read very differently. For India, it was standing with India in the fight against terrorism. For Pakistan, telling Pakistan to stop these terror factories. And that messaging should be it should show with clarity, Preeti, that the United States of America sees things from how India is looking at it and from India's perspective. For India, that's a plus. For J.D. Vance to come and say that they should handle this themselves is certainly a very different statement from any other statement we've seen in the past. But yes, it is the Vice President who is saying, handle your own stuff, do it bilaterally, it's not our concern.
You know, that's huge messaging, because right now, then that would mean, Geeta, that there is going to be no global pressure on Pakistan and also on India now, because then India can re-chalk its strategy, because if clearly at the back of a measured, proportionate response that India has been reiterating and following in spirit, Pakistan continues to escalate, India now has a free hand, because it seems if the United States of America is going to back off and say, not our job, you know, to get into this, not our business, then India, this is also a positive sign for India, because then India can strategize exactly the way they want to.
Well, that's right, but also, Preeti, the United States of America has been rather understanding of India's position and India's action. While on the one hand they have been saying de-escalate, there hasn't been a push and pressure like India has felt in the past every time India has taken an action against Pakistan. Those were different days. Trump administration is very different, works very differently, is engaged with India but not pushing India. President Donald Trump said it's a shame that they haven't stopped the conflict and there is escalation, but he did not go beyond that. So we are looking at a very different America, but it is also because we are a very different India today. Would India have conceded and paid heed to a country that would have said, do not respond to Pahalgam?
All right. Okay, Geeta, appreciate you joining us. So that's big statement coming in. But right now, viewers, I would reckon, like my colleague Geeta, who studied the Vice President of America very closely, J.D. Vance, says we might need to take it with a pinch of salt, because whatever J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the USA, has said doesn't quite concur on what has been the official line of the United States of America.